Welcome back, everybody. I've got a special treat for you today. Join me as I paint the Wings of Awesomeness, originally called the Wings back in '79, on this 1994 Western Star. Let's get to it. Right off the bat here, I'm going to apologize for the vertical video format. I wasn't really planning to do a long form video on this. However, I was talking to the owner and he was pretty pumped to get a full video on it. So here we are. So this is the truck after a ton of work was done on it by two of my talented coworkers doing the body and prep work. They did a phenomenal job getting it ready for me. And at this point, we had also had the frame sandblasted, and the other gentleman in the screen there with me, my apprentice, he helped me prime and paint the frame. So here we are laying down that white base coat, getting that initial color down on this truck. I'll show you in a few moments here. We did have a few color options I gave the owner of the truck. However, this is our final paint color. We went with L0006, which is a nice crisp white. And this is base clear on here at this point. Quick little walk around for you guys so you get an idea of how it looked before we pull it out of the booth, and one of my other coworkers went back and sanded the whole thing down again for me. And that was the last of our vertical videos there, guys, so thanks for bearing with me. Let's talk about the paint scheme, the wings, or what was dubbed the Wings of Awesomeness on the 50th anniversary trucks. There weren't a lot of reference photos. A lot of these were actually taken from the Western Star Facebook page from their Throwback Thursday posts. So those 5 pictures there is literally all I had to go off of. These are a couple spray outs I did for the owner, and ultimately we ended up picking the white and charcoal and red, which I think turned out pretty cool. So as you can see here, the truck is already half masked, and what we're going to watch today on this video is me replicating the other half, which honestly I find can be a little more challenging than doing the first half. Like, yeah, I had some reference photos to go off of, not a lot, but it was something, and I was sort of able to eyeball. There was some measuring involved, obviously, to make sure the wings and all the points were correct, but now we need to replicate that on the other side, and I know you can't see both sides at the same time, but I like to make it identical, or as close to identical as I possibly can. So I'm using some masking film here, and this is my first time playing with masking film, and I found that if I flipped it upside down on its back, so the non-adhesive side down, and cut it out that way, then I could tape it down to the opposite side with its own adhesive, if that makes sense. So right here, I did it backwards. I'm having to tape it down to the second side because the adhesive side of the masking film is out. Didn't work so well. However, it got me through this front section, and then I was able to sort of figure it out from there. As you saw there, I did also have a laser. I picked up a Milwaukee laser that does straight lines. I can lock it so it doesn't actually act as a level. I can set the angles I want on it. And it was an absolute game changer on this job. You can see it on the side of this truck here as well. You will notice I don't have laser safe glasses on, so I was very, very aware of my surroundings when I was doing this, not turning around and looking right into the laser. So that's something I do want to pick up, some PPE in that regard. However, no issues there because, like I said, I was very aware of where I was looking the whole time I was doing this. Now, this isn't a crutch. You can't completely lean on this to do all your masking for you. In some cases, like, it just makes life a lot easier. So, like, I'm going to come right around the side of that cab here, or that sleeper side corner, into that concave section, and having the laser there makes it a lot easier. But if you can't pull a straight line without the laser, you're not going to be able to pull a straight line with the laser. Fine line does take some practice to get used to, and the laser, while it does help significantly, especially these areas where the panels are all further away from each other, it definitely makes a difference. So as you can see, there's still a boatload of measuring I have to do with the laser. With having the other side done, I still have to do a ton of reference points to be able to get these lines consistent. So I actually ended up doing 16 hours of masking on this preliminary mask out in the shop. So I masked the other side up, masked this side up. It was 2 full days, and then I think that was a Thursday, Friday, and then the following Monday we were able to kick it into the booth. Now, as far as prep goes, we did prep this whole thing in 600, and when I say we, I mean my coworker. I didn't have time to do any of that. I was in the booth painting other things while that was being done, but it was pretty much all ready for me to just blow off, wipe down, and then start masking. So here you can see I've got that masking transfer film taped on backwards, so the adhesive side is facing out. Made it a little challenging to cut, but made it a lot easier just to be able to pop it right off and pop it right onto the other side. And because I'd taken so many measurements, everything pretty much lined up, and then I was able to just use that as a template to lay my fine line down and get all those shapes on the second side. Now I'm going to speed up my time lapses here a little quicker just because we don't want to spend this whole video masking, and there's still a lot of stuff to cover here. However, I do want to talk about the wheel arches. I ended up using some 3/4 inch normal tape, American PGs, stuff we use and stuff I use at home too because I like it. It's great for using reference points, or to make reference points. I find it pulls really straight. In this case, we had a 3/4 inch line that was going to get painted a different color, and then another 3/4 inch line that was going to stay white. That's the line I just pulled there using a piece of 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch fine line together doubled up to make that 3/4 inch line I needed. Now you can see I'm cutting out a Western Star logo, and we'll get into that in a couple minutes here. That'll be for something neat. And with all that masking done, guys, it is time to pull this thing apart, pull the hood, cab, and sleeper off, and get it back into the booth again. And I learned a lot of my masking tricks from the automotive world, which involves bagging things like this. And pretty simple, you just backmask your edges, pull your bag, cut it out, mask it down again, and you're done. And once we got into the booth, the owner had a slight change of heart in how he wanted the paint scheme to work. We ended up going with the very original scheme of having those stripes carry all the way through the bottom of the sleeper and into the cab skirts. And there's that Western Star logo I was cutting out earlier. So this is the back of the sleeper. This is a huge canvas. I really wanted to do something with it. The original trucks didn't really have anything. I think the bottom of the wings wrapped around a little bit, and that was about it. But there was so much space there, I wanted to do something cool. So I got the owner's blessing on this one to just sort of do what I want with it, as long as it wasn't too out of the question. And this is what I came up with. I hope you guys like masking because we're about to do a little bit more of it. No, in all honesty here, we're almost done masking. We're almost ready to spray our first color. With all the fine line done, doing this set of wings on the back added another 4 hours into an already long day. And I'm just getting ready to spray my red, my first color, that accent color. So as you can see, I'm able to use my razor blade right over top of that fine line, cut out my shape, and then I tack it down with some proper masking tape. And thanks for your patience, guys. It is time to lay some paint. So this is Axalta's Imron line. It is what we sprayed the white in originally as well. And the paint code for this is CAE74EY. And that was just something I picked out of my color chip set. It was a nice metallic red with a decent sparkle in the sunlight. And Imron is interesting. It's a coat and a half system, so you only need to go around a vehicle once, if that makes sense. So you spray a vertical coat. I'm doing a half-second vertical coat there because I didn't get the coverage I wanted with my first coat. Followed by a cross coat. So we got that vertical coat on this side. We're going to go to the other side and do our vertical coat here. And this one I didn't have to go over a second time. It laid down nicely, evenly. And now I was cheating a little bit, as you see, going around that stripe around the bottom. I'm not doing a vertical coat. I'm just sort of giving it a normal coat. You're not going to notice a color differentiation or any tiger striping, anything silly like that on a thin line like that. That's why I'm not worrying about it. So just to show you how fast this paint is, I'm now going to walk right back. This is all real time, not sped up at all. And now I'm going to do my cross coat. Your cross coat, you spray from a little bit further away, sort of orienting those metallics. To those of you who haven't sprayed Imron, it sprays very similar to a single stage. It's an industrial polyurethane. It's designed for transportation trucks like this, and it is durable stuff, and it's also designed to be sprayed quickly. So there we go, and boom, just like that, that side is completely done. Moving on now, let's get some red on that sleeper. Being in a downdraft booth here, I'm starting with the stuff that's highest up, which happens to be the wings and the star and the Western Star there. And then I'm going to go around afterwards and do that stripe along the bottom. Now, due to the way Imron flashes off, you can do your cross coat almost immediately. However, it's pretty common to leave it for a minute or two, let your metallics sort of mellow out before you go around and do your cross coat. And it is now the next morning. I finished that spraying of the red at about 10:30 the previous night. And now we're going to go through and cut out all the areas that have to go charcoal, or the that silver color. As you can see, my apprentice Jordan there helping me in the background. So once we get the charcoal areas cut out and masked down, then we have to mask off the parts that went red, and so on and so forth. Bit of a process, but ultimately it's what you have to do. And now for the part that's going to make this paint job pop, the 874659EB Sparkle Gray. There's a ton of glass flake in this paint. This is hands down the coolest color I've sprayed between my automotive, custom, and heavy duty experience. The stuff, it looks like TV static when the light hits it outside. That glass flake just pops. So yeah, let's get it on there. Unfortunately, my camera died just before spraying the wings on the back of the sleeper there, but here you go. Here's a look at that metallic sparkle, or the sparkle gray, under some light with the booth lights turned off. It just, it pops. Unfortunately, my sun gun was dying here too, just having issues with batteries at this point, but you guys get the idea. Just a good look here before we end up unmasking everything and getting a coat of clear over it. And this is one of my favorite parts of the paint job, unmasking after a second or third color to see the results. Always a little nerve-wracking. You never know what it's going to look like underneath that masking with so much overspray on there, but in this case, it turned out pretty nice. I say pretty nice. It wasn't perfect. As much as I wish I could say it unmasked perfectly, I did have a lot of bleed through with that Imron, just around the edges of my fine line, anywhere the fine line overlapped itself. So I did end up spending almost 2 hours going around with a little bit of gum wash on a paper towel wrapped around the end of a fiber stick just to clean up those edges. Because at this point, that base coat, it is a catalyzed base coat being Imron, but it is still soft, so gum wash will take it right off. So as long as you're really careful, it is possible to clean up those edges and those corners before you go to clear coat everything. And after who knows how many hours, guys, time to lay some clear coat. Big jobs like this, they're stressful. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I find as soon as I pull the trigger and get that first pass of clear on there, all the stress just disappears. All your rushing to get everything done within your recoat windows, making sure everything's perfect. All those worries are gone at this point. You just have to settle back, lay some clear, and hope it turns out nice. And before I toss some music on and let you guys enjoy the clear coating, I'll just throw a little bit more info at you. I'm using a SATA 13 RP 5500 O pattern here. It is the phaser edition, but it sprays no difference than normal SATA 5500. Now, Imron 8831S, the clear I'm using, is designed to be sprayed in a coat and a half system, just like the base coat is. Sorry, my screen's a little yellow there. The GoPro's light adjustment's a little funky in the booth with so much light in there. But yeah, so the 8831S there is designed to be a coat and a half system, cross coat as well. I don't end up doing that here. I do 2 full wet coats back to back. So I spray the whole job, mix up some more clear, come back and spray the whole job again. And the reason I did that is I wanted just a little bit more build, and by giving it that 5 to 10 minutes flash time between coats, probably 10 to 15 minutes between, it just gives it a chance to set up so I can get a little bit more product on there. That's going to help hide those layer lines between the different colors because the Imron is so thick. So I'll stop nattering at you guys. Enjoy. And it's about 9:30 on a Tuesday here, and done spraying my last coat of clear. Now, it's a couple long days, unfortunately, with a job this size. Unless you really want to go crazy and clear coat and sand after every color, you're going to be working a few long days to get all these products sprayed within all their recoat windows to mitigate risk of any peeling or anything like that. And in this case, I was able to hit those windows, and honestly, I wouldn't have done anything differently. Like I said, a couple long days, but totally worth it. This is one of the coolest projects I've been able to spray in my career up to this point, and I'm fairly young in my career. I've only been painting for about 7 years now, so I'm sure I'll get some more cool things my way down the road, but I'm super happy with how this one turned out. As I do my final walk around here, I have to give credit where credit is certainly due. Up first, Ryan Sassville. He was the body tech on this job. He did a ton of the wiring, electrical, all the body work, obviously. He jumped in and helped with the prep as well. Did a phenomenal job getting this thing ready for me and making my life easier in the booth. Followed that up, David Hoffman was our prepper on this one. He does a ton of prep work in our shop, and you guys see the size of these things. It's not an easy feat to do all the prep work, spraying epoxy, spraying polyester filler on the roof cap, blocking it down, all that jazz. Not a small amount of work either. And then lastly, Jordan Geiger, who helped me prime and spray the frame. He helped me spray the white, clear coat it all. And then he also helped me do some of the masking and unmasking during the final stages. So a huge shout out to those guys for getting this truck to where it needed to be for me to paint it. I believe I mentioned in previous videos, I just make it shiny at the end of it. All the hard work happens before it comes to me in the booth, and I just make it pretty at the very end, but I couldn't do my job without everyone else doing theirs. So as we're finishing up the walk around here, you see that custom low mount headache rack, so we can show off that coat of wings there. That was built by our fab department, sent out for polish, and looks phenomenal. There were a few odds and ends I had to paint after. The cab skirts, there's a little antenna on the roof that I don't think is functional anymore that still looks cool. Overall, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.